Hey everybody. I wanted to do another video. I guess, would be kind of a part 3 of the breakdown video I did on Hotel California, which led to a mental breakdown and an insane asylum. And if you watched my last videos, you know what those ones are about, and the demons and the sigils behind them. So this video is different but the same because it has to do with MK Ultra, your mind, the reptilian brain, and programming, and how to break programming. So the ego. Your ego is something that in biological terms is in two different parts of your brain. You have your limbic brain and you have your reptilian brain. The limbic brain is the part that processes your emotional responses, whereas your reptilian brain is more instinctual, fight or flight. So it's the one responsible for, keeping you going when you feel there's danger and you need to rely on your instinct. Now, according to Freud, the ego is part of the personality that mediates the id, the superego, and then reality. So the id is described as being a basic part of the personality that urges people to fulfill their primal needs. The superego, on the other hand, is moralistic. It's based more on how you're brought up, your social settings. And then you have the balance. So it supports your behavior, your emotional response, your long-term memory, and your olfactory nerve, which has to do with smell. It's a part of the brain involved that, we need for feeding, reproduction, caring for our children and our young, and so forth. Now, with the ego, there are things that trigger people to act on their emotions versus using logic. Stress triggers. Now, stress triggers are usually set early on in life by either having narcissistic abuse, or some type of ritual abuse, or satanic ritual abuse, or programming. Now, the reptilian brain is often still in control of our lives way after the trauma has passed. And the normal thinking process of the brain shuts down because it's difficult to think logically when your brain is thinking you're in danger and you have to run all the time. The reptilian complex is a system of the brain responsible for just basic survival and breathing, staying alive. Now, your limbic system is interconnected and it's deep within the brain. It's responsible for your emotions, your emotional responses. So, according to Freud, there's different types of ego. You have egotism, which is the ethical theory. We have egocentrism, which is the inability to differentiate yourself from other. Then there's self-concept, a collection of beliefs about oneself that embodies the answer, basically, of going through life saying, who am I? The ego has its own agenda. It just wants to survive. And in order to survive, the ego needs to basically, it needs energy and a web of unconscious justifications for its existence. It judges, it complains, it worries, it's fearsome, and this is basically causing a person the inability to love. It's a defense mechanism because in their past, they were not fully loved. So the ego mind consists of unconscious, fragmented projections and is therefore split. It's not a whole and fully integrated thing. And it gets nested in the subconscious, and it tries to hide and deceive us. And oftentimes we don't see it. And the ego, it's kind of like an alien entity that's trying to survive by all means necessary. That is a demon, many demons, but the main one would be the Leviathan. And the Leviathan is one I talked about in a past video. It is one of the water spirits. And I went over those in the other videos. So ego causes split personalities and fragmented thoughts often. Becoming whole is key. Finding your true inner self and being delivered is key. Compassion and forgiveness are key. Forgive yourself so that you could have compassion on those who are out there, and you could forgive them too. Forgiveness.